Hi there everyone, Nozzy here, and I'm super late on this, I know. Towards the end of February, the announcement for Star Wars The High Republic came out, and if I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really know what to think. I've watched this trailer again and again, and I don't know, man. Y'all know the extended universe is my shit, and that Disney snapping it out of existence causes extreme anger in me. Plus the fact that most of the new Disney Star Wars media is absolute fucking garbo, with very few exceptions. The announcement trailer, however, gave me this strange sort of hope, like a lost Jedi hiding out in the Outer Rim, hearing Luke's call to reform the Jedi Order after the fall of the Empire. I have no idea if this is legit, or if it's another trap set by the Dark Lords in the House of Mouse. The Force Awakens seemed kinda neat as well on the first trailer, but we all know how that turned out. The sequel trilogy and the media that surrounds it took everything I loved about Star Wars and just threw it in the garbage. The Sith no longer have any nuance, the Empire is just Nazis for Nazis' sake, the Death Star is a weapon of mass incompetence instead of a super weapon aimed at protecting Palpatine from an extragalactic threat in the Yuuzhan Vong. Anakin and Luke were rendered totally ineffectual, their victory stripped away and granted to Rey. Han and Leia lost one of the best relationships ever put to paper, and all around it left a sour taste in my mouth. To be honest, if I didn't have the world that Lucas started, plus all the extra imagination the great, and honestly some of the not-so-great authors added, stuffed into my brain, then I probably would have given up on Star Wars long ago. I know I shouldn't have hope. I know that Kyle Katarn, Mara Jade Skywalker, Lobaka, Jaina and Jason Solo, they're never gonna get the respect they deserve, but at the very least, the High Republic's announcement trailer is saying the right things. I think, for context, I need to say what Star Wars means to me, and otherwise this hope may not make the most amount of sense. Star Wars, at least to me, is a canvas. It's a galaxy where technology has basically hit the point that any major change is tens of thousands of years away. They have everything they need from a utilitarian standpoint. Galactic travel takes mere hours, a week at most. Laser guns fire for hundreds or thousands of shots without needing reloading. There's cybernetics and healthcare that borders on magic, and yet it's still not a post-scarcity universe like Star Trek is. People still scrounge by on certain planets, there's still class divides depending on the era, slavery still reigns supreme in certain sectors. It's this rich canvas that draws me into Star Wars, and it's the fact that this canvas stretches infinitely in either direction that allows anything to happen. The furthest the Legends goes back is 25,793 years before the Battle of Yavin, with Dawn of the Jedi detailing some of the earliest trials of the Jedi Order on Ossus, with the furthest forwards being Crucible, which took place in 45 after the Battle of Yavin. And that details the final adventure of Luke and the gang before Disney just nuked everything. And that's just the novels. The comics went even further, but they were always, tangentially canon. They were canon when they needed to be, and not canon when something contradicted them. Disney could have just done anything with the new movies, but instead they were hell-bent on wiping everything off the canvas just to keep painting where George left off, showing a total misunderstanding of how Star Wars has worked since 1976, when George Lucas and Alan Dean Foster released From the Adventures of Luke Skywalker, an adaptation of the Star Wars screenplay with additional setting information that would itself go on to influence the wider expanded universe. It's within the bounds of this canvas that anything can happen, and if it doesn't work with the established rules of the part of the canvas you want to paint on, you can look around and find a blank spot to work on. So long as it doesn't break the innate rules of that canvas, anything can go. It's something that worked for decades, and it gave us some of the most unique facets of the Star Wars mythos. I realize that the canvas analogy might not make the most sense at first in regards to the High Republic, but hold on a second, I'm getting there. The announcement trailer, to my knowledge, didn't feature any of the old guard of the extended universe, especially not Karen Traviss, Troy Denning, Christy Golden, or even Tim Zahn, the guy who wrote Thrawn. But it felt like they were excited about Star Wars at the very least, and that's a very good thing, at least as far as I'm concerned. I haven't read any of their works, even though I do know that some of them have written for Disney Star Wars before, but even if a couple of them suck total ass, there's gotta be a few home runs in there somewhere, and who knows, if they do start off rocky, then maybe they'll improve over time. Their idea of a Jedi Knights of the Round Table setup for one of their stories, of Jedi wandering the Outer Rim dispensing justice, and of a pseudo-Mandalorian group of space raiders all sounds incredibly interesting to me. The Jedi themselves are very much based on Eastern samurai myth of Bushido and selfless dedication to their daimyo, but the fun thing about that is it very much mirrors the Western concept of knights, pledged to their king, defending the weak and following a strict code of chivalry, or at least in the myths, if not in the reality. Something that I'm not sure people noticed was their concept of a Jedi Texas Ranger, as they called it. It's more or less the idea behind the Jedi Sentinel, a Legends concept of the prequel era that was almost completely lost in the Disney snap. If these people are looking to Legends for inspiration, a good deal of Old Republic lore might even be returned to us. We have until August to speculate, hem and haw over this, but this could actually honestly be one of the first new things Disney makes is actually halfway decent. So, I guess here's the point where I should probably point out things in the trailer itself, but let's jump halfway in and look with the infamous board. So, first things first, this board is incomplete. In the sweeping shot, you can see that there are more to this than what we can see, but due to blur, we can't really see it. There's something people can see and have seen that is setting off alarm bells, and honestly, I think it's a nothing issue, but I'll get to it later. While I personally haven't done anything professional, I've been part of a few small writing projects in the past, and we've done boards like this. Generally, we go one column at a time and work our way down, and then once you're done, you start matching up items to create your product. Sometimes there's overlap, but not always. The left side is usually the most vague, but not always. And can you see why people freaking out over an idea board is kind of a dumb idea? We have no idea how they set this up. Starting from the left column, we have some ideas that are vague, but sound well-intentioned. Authentically lived in, surprise, feelings, relatable characters, humor. Most of these are honestly fairly standard for fiction, and since we don't know if this is just for one book or for the whole project, it's hard to tell. The middle column honestly reads less like ideas and more, this is the shit that makes Star Wars go, and it honestly sounds pretty spot on. You've got the basic idea of it being an inherently non-pro-war story, with the main good guy force being space monk wizards that are dedicated to peace in the galaxy. We've got droids, a large scope, told as if it was a myth, lightsabers and space battles, a group of protagonists in lieu of a singular titular main character, the Force, complicated monsters. To be honest, this sounds more like Legends material than anything Disney has ever put out, but then again, I'm equating complicated monsters with not everyone in the Empire is evil, some of them actually believe they're doing the right thing, which was a huge thing in Legends. No bad guy sees themselves as evil, and that's honestly what the first lesson anyone learns from writing. And then, of course, the final column, Star Wars wishes, which seems to be the general ideas the writers want to bring to bear in the project. Not gonna lie, these all sound pretty fucking hype. Star Wars taking story inspiration from Arthurian legend, cool new aliens/monsters based on dinosaurs, a book that follows a Jedi Academy maybe, the Sith Empire. These words alone make my brain explode with possibilities, and the fact that people are so dismissive honestly kind of burns my ass. Now, I don't want to throw shade here, I really don't, but just some guy put out a video as I was writing this script that opens with the line, "A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there was a story about a transgender quadriplegic lesbian who had all the force powers ever made and was constantly talking about dinosaurs and feelings and Arthurian legends." Yeah, that totally makes me think about Star Wars. His general tone on the High Republic was more or less a meh from what I could tell, not so much vitriol, and he's probably had much more of a professional experience with these idea boards than I have, but that opening line right there basically sums up a lot of the reaction that I've run into while I was looking into stuff for the High Republic. I don't know the exposure that just some guy has with Star Wars, how much he knows about the extended universe, and all the webs that scatter out from the movies, books, and comics, but I feel as if his malaise is painting everything with one wide brush. Dinosaur-like monsters featured in Star Wars since the original trilogy, starting with the Rancor and later the Dewback added with special editions for the monsters, and aliens like the Trandoshan, Saurons, and so on were featured in A New Hope. Star Wars itself borrows from an infinite number of heroes' journey myths that exist in human literature, and that every force power ever thing was probably just dry wit poking fun at Rey and her bullshit. I've got a deep respect for Just Some Guy, but the one thing on the board I've avoided talking about is probably what caused him to immediately lose interest. The fact that diversity and representation is on there twice. People see that and immediately have Vietnam flashbacks. It did kind of make me a little nervous at first as well, which is kind of why it took me so long to finish writing this script. When people see diversity in the modern day, they don't think, oh hey, it's gonna have a bunch of people from different walks of life. They think about shit like that diversity calendar from a few years ago that was all attractive black women, and nobody who was Asian, white, Polynesian, or any other flavor of person. I personally think that this is going to be different. Once again, it's hard to tell because we have a little context for this board beyond these are our general ideas, but what we do get after it is concept art, and color concept art at that. From the art alone, I think we're actually going to get proper Star Wars diversity instead of Malcolm X with a lightsaber fighting Lord Rice, Lord of the Crows. And with that wonderful transition, I get to talk about the concept art now, and it's really nice, so here we fucking go, boys and girls. This first piece I'm throwing up here is actually my second favorite, and it's the first piece we see after the board. It shows us what's implied to be some of our heroes for this story, and here I already see 2 white people, 1 Asian or Latino looking guy, and a Marilyn. Already, this is the kind of diversity that we want from Star Wars. Hell, my favorite piece shows 2 white humans, 2 black humans, 1 ambiguous human, 1 Marilyn, and 2 Twi'leks. From the board, we can assume that our pool of heroes and heroines is gonna be pretty large, and if even a fraction of these people get point of view books, then I'm excited to see what's done with them. I've probably thrown up some other pictures I like on the screen as I've been talking, and just... whoa, holy shit, this is exactly what I think of when I think diversity in Star Wars. Or even getting Wookiee Jedi again. I'm a little miffed that it's not Lobaka, but without Jaina and the rest of the squad, I don't think there's much we can really do about that. I do also want to say that some of these character designs are on fucking point, though. Like, holy shit, look at this smug girl right here. I fucking love her, and I hope that her characterization is as good as her design. That's my definite favorite right there. I think one of the main strengths of this trailer that everyone basically tuned out of once they heard the dreaded D word is that they showed us what the characters are more or less going to look like. I think Disney is probably tired of losing money by now, and despite Kathleen's insistence that the Extended Universe books don't physically exist, this definitely feels like them pushing to be just a little bit more like them. That, or this is the biggest bamboozle in the history of bamboozles, and every character that isn't Master Sidecut are going to be killed off immediately, and everyone will refund the book to Barnes & Nobles, and the High Republic will just die. Kinda hoping they're smarter than that, though. So, we've seen our heroes, a diverse band of humans and aliens from different walks of life, so who are our bad guys, these Nihil guys? If the sequel films are to be believed, they've clearly all just gonna be a bunch of what... Ew. Oh my. This is the best, widest shot that I could pull from the sweep over the Nihil concept art. Best I can tell from how they're described and how they appear, they're basically evil Mandalorians when boiled down to their most base, and I absolutely love it. From this picture, it seems as if their leader is either the Quarren in yellow or the white Chagrain in front of him. I can't quite pick out any humans for sure in there, but if you really want Star Wars diversity, here it is right here. Starting from the far left, there's what looks like a Gand with a really big helmet. It's kind of hard to tell, he's kind of cut off there. Then you've got the Quarren, the Chagrian, a Dug, what's supposedly a female Ortolan, which we haven't seen before, an Arcona, a Togruta, there's maybe a human in the far back, it's hard to tell through the armor, a Gran, a Moon, and an evil fucking Gungan! My dude, you cannot imagine how hyped I am for evil Gungan! I'm sure this is a fraction of the actual breadth of the Nihil if they are space Vikings who raid every planet they come across, and they seem to accept anyone who wants to join up. But this is honestly what I'm the most excited about. In addition, this takes place around 200 to 300 BBY, so this is also the time of the Great Schism in Mandalorian culture, meaning that the Mando'a Akit are running around doing Mandalorian stuff while Duchess Satine's ancestors are making the galaxy think Mandalorians are fucking boring and ruining it for everyone. I know in my heart that we probably won't see the Nihil fighting Mando'a, but I hope that someone on that writing team has Vodayan on their Spotify playlist. I know this is basically turned into a Nos rants about the High Republic for however long this turns out to be, but honestly, I'm kind of excited. I'm more excited for this than I've been for anything Disney Star Wars for a long time. This isn't George Lucas tells Kathleen Kennedy to fuck off and reclaim Star Wars, not by a long shot, but it's a new beginning for the franchise that I love more than any other, the offshoots of the first movie ever watched. It's a new hope.